So today what we're going to get started on is outlining the scary thing, the big thing. I feel like everybody has this thing that in their back of their mind, they're like, I want to write this album, I want to write this book, da 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 da. But there's just so many things in life, and I'll do it when X happens. Or there's some reason that it keeps kicking the can down the road, and the reason is that it's scary. And I think a lot of people settle for things in life because it's really scary to not settle. It's so easy to settle. It's comfortable. That's kind of what settling is. But if you want to have an amazing life and that dream life that we envision, it requires doing the scary thing, and that's definitely scary. So from August 2020 to August 2021, my big goal was to have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And then from August 2021 to August 2022, my big goal was moving to San Francisco. And these were things that were both super scary, felt super unrealistic. Financially, it was really scary, but it was something that excited me. It felt like I was expanding myself, but it felt really scary. And for me, I feel like that's the perfect zone when things really excite me and are also pretty scary at the same time. That's when I feel like that's the thing that I want to be doing. And when I look back on all of those decisions, I'm so happy with all of those decisions. I'm so happy with the decision to move to San Francisco. I'm so happy with the decision to continue YouTube. Okay, so I've got this PDF here, so you can just click in the description for the PDF. You can work on it in your iPad, print it out, copy it down into a bullet journal, whatever you want to do. We're on day 3. You can see we're on day 3 here, but if you want to look at day 1 and day 2, I'll have the playlist linked in the description so you can just see this whole challenge in one spot. So right here, you're going to write, I'm going to stop settling and start pursuing the scary thing that excites me most. So like for me, that could, like last year, that could have been moving to San Francisco, or it could be, for you writing a book or an album. Like by the end of this year, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this step this year toward my life's work. And it's like a life's work. I mean, that's the phrase, life's work. So it takes your whole life. But what are you going to do this year to kind of go in that direction, even if it's scary? So then we're going to chunk backwards. This is where you want to be at the end of the year. So I'm calling them phase 4, phase 3, phase 2, phase 1. Normally I would call these quarters, like the quarters of the year. But because we're starting in like April, it's when I'm doing it right now. And I wanted this to work no matter what time of year you're starting it. Because setting goals is not just for New Year's. Sometimes you get this breath is like fresh wind that you want to start at a random time. So I wanted this to work for no matter what time of year you were starting. But these are 3-month increments. So by the end of the year, 9 months from now, 6 months from now, 3 months from now, where do you want to be? So you start at the end, and that kind of helps you figure out where you need to be when you chunk it back. So I'll show you like this example. So I did it. So I will write the book by the end of this year. So this is just kind of an example of what someone could do. So then I might fill in like what the months are for you. So like if you're starting right now, when I'm starting, end of April 2024, end of January, end of October, end of July. So these are like 3-month stretches we have here. So if I was writing a book, which I have actually helped my friend chunk out writing his book, is the process that he used. So maybe the last 3 months of the year, you want that to be the final edit. Like if you want to be done with it, you need to have the final edit done those last 3 months. Then maybe you want to do the first edit, the previous 3 months. Maybe you want to do the rough draft, the second 3 months. And then maybe in phase 1, you need to make some decisions. And I put this decision phase because a lot of people don't get started on things because they haven't decided things. They're like, well, I would get started if I knew what to do, or I'm just kind of multi-passionate. Maybe I want to do a book. Maybe I want to write music, or I want to write a book, but I don't know if it should be about this or this. And so people just don't get started because they just have these questions. And what I feel like is those questions are never going to get answered unless you take steps to answer them. So if you have a lot of questions in your mind, that this whole phase 1, those first 3 months, or maybe just the first month, however long you think it'll take, could be about answering those questions. Like, what's it really going to take? So maybe month 1, you say, okay, I'm going to fully go into music and see what I think about that. Month 2, I'll fully go into book writing, see what I think about that. And then that'll kind of help you flesh things out. But when you're in kind of decision land and you haven't made any steps forward, it's really hard to know. So what I always, my motto is, I don't know where I originally heard it, but it's fail fast. And so it's just make a decision, run with it, and then you can see, do you like it or do you not like it? And you're in a much better position to see if you really like it once you actually went in that direction. But when you just sit back and you try to think about it in decision land, you don't really get anything decided. You gotta, get your feet moving to really see if you like that thing or not. So then there's a space here for your sacred time slot. So you need to pick a time that you can work on this because this needs to become habitual. This isn't something that you get really excited about a book and you just write for like 5 hours a day for a whole week, and then you just get burnt out and then you don't do anything with it. I'm kind of like the queen of like doing stuff like that, like just diving all in and then just so one day I wake up and I'm just like done with it pretty much. And then it'll come back around the next year and I do it again the next year and then the next year. And it's like, I don't want to just have these fits and starts every year, but I want this to become a habit. This is the type of person I want to be, and I want to continue being this person and continue making consistent progress on it. Because if you make consistent, really crappy progress, like if you went to the gym every day for only 10 minutes, you'd be in much better shape than if once a year you went and you did a really like perfect workout. So that's something that I try to just tell myself, is showing up in a really just crappy, it's like not that great way is much better and yields much better results than if I show up perfectly once a year, which is what I had been doing. So you're going to pick a time regularly that you want to work on this. Now for me, I picked 5 a.m. because I found that things just wouldn't get done. So I'm currently a teacher and working on YouTube, and I just tried to do YouTube after work, but I found that I was just so exhausted. You know, one reason that I want to quit teaching is because it's exhausting. And so when I come home, I'm not giving my full attention to YouTube. And it was just this uphill battle, but I just kept saying, well, I'm not a morning person, and I'm so tired in the morning that the work's not going to be very good. So I need to do it now. But it's like I was so mentally exhausted from work. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll try it before work, but I have to be there at 7:30, which means I'll have to wake up at 5 so I can work from like 6 to 7 on YouTube. So I did, and I actually found that I'm really decisive in the mornings. That whole first, I'm really, really groggy. I have a productive video that I just came out with, like a productive vlog. You can kind of see I'm so tired when I first immediately wake up, and I consider it like the first 10 minutes are hell so that the rest of the day can be heaven, because when you get the important thing done first, it's not looming over you and you're not feeling like the shame of, am I going to do it? Am I going to procrastinate? I don't know. When you don't do it initially, there's so much room, like wiggle room throughout the day for you to just choose to not do it. But in the morning, nothing has gone wrong yet. People don't have all these demands that they're asking of you yet. Just everything's gone right. You got time to yourself. People aren't asking things of you. And then you feel so accomplished the rest of the day that I really like it. Now, if you had a job that started later, you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. Obviously, I just have a job that requires me to get to work really early, so that's what I have to do. But my philosophy is just do the priorities first. And so it doesn't mean you have to wake up early, but I do think that it's much more impactful if you do the priorities first. So you're going to pick a time slot. Like the example I picked here is I'll spend Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. writing on whatever my next milestone is. So is it writing a rough draft? Is it editing? What is it? And working on it from that time frame. And it's good because things won't get, in the morning, things don't usually get scheduled in that place. Like if I pick to regularly do something at 3, then it's like, oh, someone wants me to do this, or I need to stay at work late, or I gotta do this. And, people are out and about, in the regular hours. But in the mornings, nothing's probably gonna get scheduled in its place. So that's what I like to do. I like to do mornings and pick a time, and it needs to become a habit. So pretty much there are all these phases, and maybe it seems complex, like you got the decision phase and the editing phase and the rough draft phase. But what's the habit in all this? The habit is I'm going to show up to my desk for 1 hour, 3 days a week, or 5 days a week, or whatever it is. So I want you to pick right now when your time slot is, like where are you going to do that and what time are you going to allot to it? Because I think a lot of times what stops people from reaching their goals is they never assign it to time. They just say, okay, I want to write a book at some point by the end of this year, and then they just get started doing it. But you have to actually kind of chunk backward to see what are my deadlines, where do I need to be at this point in the year, and how much is that going to take? And then you can see if it's realistic or not. And actually making it a habit, I think, is the biggest difference. A lot of people don't make their goals a habit or a priority, and they just let other people use their time, and then another year goes by and you're like, oh yeah, wow, things just got busy and I just didn't do it. So I've been so happy doing this. I think it's hard. I think for some reason with life's work, it's really scary. Like nothing is harder for me than filming. The whole process. Editing the video, I don't even like editing that much, but editing the video is better, making thumbnails is better, writing the video is fine. It's the actual getting on camera and talking that's so hard. And every time, once I've been doing it for 5 minutes, then it's fun. Like I'm really enjoying this right now. But 10 minutes ago, I was like, I was just dreading it. And for some reason with the important things with life's work, there's just so much dread involved because it just feels so important. But then as soon as I do it, it's like, oh, I actually love this thing. I'm not sure why all that dread was there 10 minutes ago. I really like it, but I think it's just because it feels so important and it's looming, and it makes it difficult. There's like a lot of resistance to getting started, but then it's really fun once you start doing it. So I think pick a time that you want to do it. So in this video, we kind of chunked out quarterly, but then in the next video, we're going to get more granular and go to monthly, and we'll talk about routines of like weekly planning routines, monthly planning routines, and kind of what's the point of this. And so we'll make it a little bit more granular in the next video, kind of chunk it down even a little bit further. You can click in the description box for the playlist. You can see the previous videos if you missed those, next videos when they come out. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Bye.